Could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad absent. Councilmember Barber.
Present.
Councilmember Berenson.
Present.
Councilmember Burke.
Present.
Councilmember Holman.
Present.
Councilmember Kellogg.
Present.
Councilmember Moorhead absent. Councilmember Townsend absent. Mayor Turnbow.
Present. We have a quorum. Could I please ask you to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And tonight, under presentations and award, we have our city auditor to give a presentation, Mr. Feuerborn.
Thank you, sir. I would like to introduce the council to Mr. Kim Pearson from Dana F. Cole and Company.
Good evening. Pleasure to be here again to present the audited financial statements for the city of Raymore. This is for the year ending October 31st, 2017. The audit package that you will have, if you haven't received it already, is a comprehensive annual financial report. Has a lot of information on the city, not just with the financial transactions, but also with a bunch of disclosures that are included in that. The prior year financial statements underwent a review process through the Government Finance Officers Association, and the city was awarded with its 7th consecutive Certificate of Achievement Award for financial reporting. I would guess that after this audit goes through that you'll also get another certificate as well. So that speaks highly of the city and all of the departments that are associated with it. Overall for this year, the audit went well again this year, and I'd like to thank the staff for all of their responsiveness to all of our requests. The city did, as we have been continuing to do this, they have done more towards putting this whole financial package together. We as auditors, we still do part of the completion process to make sure that everything is complete and reconciles and is accurate. And so in that, we still have that item disclosed in the audit package that we as auditors have provided some of that assistance. But again, the staff does continue to do that. We have issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements that they're presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And then we also have a report on compliance, and that report discloses no instances of non-compliance for the city. So very good audit opinion, very good audit package, and again, I appreciate all the assistance. There is one section in the audit package, it's the management discussion and analysis that'll help you kind of understand the financial statements in summary form. There's some tables included in there. And then for some of the differences, there's narratives to help describe what those differences are for, kind of help you further understand what the financial statements themselves are saying. So again, just want to express my appreciation for the staff, not just the finance department, but we work with a whole lot of people at the city. And so appreciate that. I can take any questions you might have, or if any of you have questions at a later time, feel free to contact me then as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anyone have any questions at this time? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Next item under presentations, we have with us tonight, we're supposed to have Cynthia with us. Is she here?
She's on her way.
Is she on her way? And Mr. Kevin Wood, former mayor from Harrisonville, is here to speak to us tonight about the Cass Community Health Foundation's fundraising event.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Well, it's an exciting time of year for us, and Mayor Turnbow has generously volunteered to serve on our committee, and we appreciate his support and all the support from Raymore. Cass Community Health Foundation, for those of you who don't know and in the audience, we are the dental clinic in Belton and Harrisonville. We serve underserved children, either who have Medicaid or no insurance at all. And so we screen about 5,500 children throughout Cass County in all of the schools. We have a fall session and a spring session, so we have hygienists and dentists who go out and volunteer and do the screenings. And then in our clinics, we see about 3,500 children of the 7,000 that have Medicaid in this county. So we take care of a majority of them. So we get out and we talk to people and let them know we're here to serve and take care of the kids. So tonight we're here to talk to you a little bit more about our walk. So coming up the Saturday before Mother's Day, which I believe is the May the 5th, we have a walk, and everybody is invited to come out and join us as we try to raise money to serve our children. Cass Community Health Foundation really does two things, and we do them very, very well, and I'm honored to serve on the board and as the chair of the walk this year. We take care of kids' teeth, and we provide scholarships for kids wanting to go in the health occupations. So last year we gave a little over $35,000 to those kids going to school, and we do it a little bit differently than others. We try to help our kids their freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior years through college. So when we start out, their scholarships may be less because so many of them have scholarships, you know, when they leave high school and are going to college, and then we work towards keeping them, and as they have good grades and they perform, we continue to keep them throughout the 4 years of their education, and the scholarships we provide actually increase to help them so that they can finish. So tonight I'm here to tell you a couple of things. We have a little program called the Community Challenge, and all of our, there she is.
Cynthia, come on up.
in.
You can join Kevin here.
Community Challenge. So tonight I wanted to come and challenge the city of Raymore and all of its folks to compete against the other cities in the county. So we have, last year, I'm excited to say, or sad to say since I'm in Raymore tonight, but Belton was our winner. So somebody may want to take that away from them, and so we're happy for you to do that, and all it means is more people have to participate and get involved and help out the kids. So with that, you want to say a little more about the walk? You have stuff to hand out.
I do have stuff. Do you want to like hand it out to each of the council?
Sure.
One of those and one of these, and for any of the guests that are here.
All right.
So
Get it to them.
I was at the back of the building trying to find entrance, and a nice police officer told me I was at the wrong end of the building, so apologize for my delay, but thank you for the opportunity to be with you this evening, and not sure how much Kevin told you about the walk, so awesome there, but can I tell him a little bit about the clinic, just a little bit? A little bit, all right.
Covered it.
You know what, he didn't really need me here, did he?
No, I did. I really did. But anyway, so we're handing out the flyers. Hopefully, we'll have some we can put in the back when she's done handing those out. And Chris, thanks for having us. And
You bet. And it's very easy to put a team together. As you know, if I can figure it out on your website, anybody should be able to figure it out. Putting a team together in order to raise money as a group. And more teams that we get from Raymore, better chance that we are of beating the other communities.
that's right.
So.
And just to say it, Belton City Council already put their team together. So,
Well, I have a mayor's team.
okay,
Oh,
there you go.
Mayor's team.
Turnbull.
This was a city council member that put the team together.
Oh, okay.
So it could be a challenge between you and one of the city council members to
There you go.
for teams.
There you go.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. It's a great cause. And under personal appearances, Ms. Dooley canceled her appearance tonight, so we'll move on to staff reports. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Krass to make a staff report for the Public Works Department.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Just wanted to let you know one of our capital projects is going to be starting this shortly here, the I&I project. We had a pre-construction meeting this week, and so Bright Construction will be starting work on that shortly. Our public works crews are busy taking advantage of the seasonal weather. We had 3 crews out today pothole patching, so it's that time of year again. So, and that concludes my staff report. I'm available for any questions.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Krass? Thank you, Michael. Mr. Fearborn.
There are no seasons in between winter and spring for pothole patching. On Friday night, Mr. Krass was writing me, talking to me about icing conditions over the weekend that we had to be prepared for, and then it is now spring in one day, and so we're out there pothole patching. So thanks to them for the quick turnaround. I would now ask that Mr. Mustine make a report for our Parks and Recreation Department.
Thanks, sir. Mayor, members of the council. Just a quick couple highlights from my staff report that I provided in the packet. We had our first Valentine's Ball, our father-daughter Valentine's Ball at Centerview a couple weeks ago. Huge success. Much more participation than we expected, and having been a part of it myself, it was just a lot of fun. We had a good time. Over 120 people participated in this year's event, so we expect that this will be an annual thing from this point forward. So very excited about that event. A couple of capital improvement projects that have wrapped up. The pergola at Ward Park, if you'll remember, there's a shelter facility that was scheduled to be built out there. We did that project in-house. One of our young new park maintenance workers, Gus Booz, he designed the pergola, purchased the equipment, organized the entire project, and it is up and it looks really good. They're really excited. Gus is a good addition to our team. Also, the fence around the maintenance area to kind of block in that yard, that hide some of that stuff and allow us a workspace and a storage space, that project is now complete. The tree board met last Thursday. They have finalized the signs for the Arboretum. Those go to review for the park board, just to kind of let the park board see that tomorrow night. We should be ordering those signs by the end of the week, have those installed this spring, so the Arboretum is moving right along. And also, park board does meet tomorrow night. We have a work session at 6 o'clock and then our regular meeting at 7 o'clock. Be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Mr. Mustine? Anybody? Mr. Kello?
Not a question, but a comment to hold my comments at the end. I'd like to commend and thank you for announcing that Gus did what he did. I'd like to commend him publicly for that. That's the kind of dedication and commitment that I know I appreciate, and I suspect all of my colleagues appreciate from our employees. That just speaks so highly. And thank you for being proud enough to say that. And I want you to tell him that I am very proud of him and thank him personally for everything he's done. Thank you.
I will do. Thank you, sir.
Sir? Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Holman.
Not a question, but a comment. Mr. Mustine at times can be, he doesn't brag on himself as well as he should. The Valentine's Day father-daughter dance was maxed at 120, and we sold out in advance of the event. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I would have considered first-year programming 50 to 60 participants being a huge success, and we maxed that out from the top in the first year. That's really, really excellent. Good work, sir.
Thank you.
I would agree. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mustine. I would ask Mr. Icky at this time to make a report for communications.
Thank you, sir. In front of you tonight, we have a project that the Communications Department recently completed. And my hope is my sarcasm doesn't come off too thick tonight, but despite all of the Google Map apps, Yahoo Map apps, and online tools that we have at our fingertips, we do from time to time receive several requests for paper physical maps that residents can use while they are within the city limits. This project really represented or presented us an opportunity to put together something with the new branding that allowed us to tell our story a little bit in that first page, but then also allowed us to highlight some of the parks, trails, linear parks, and other amenities that we have within Raymore, all within really kind of one print product. And it was kind of a great project, an opportunity for us to put together something that visually looks very nice and also something that we can hand out and be proud of, regardless who requests it or who uses it. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Anyone? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Mr. Fearborn.
That concludes staff reports this evening, sir.
Okay, thank you. We have no committee reports. We'll move on to the consent agenda, of which there is just one item. It's council minutes for February the 12th. Is there a motion to dispose of the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to approve the consent agenda for February 12th, 2018, City Council minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carries 5 yes, 3 absent. We'll move on to unfinished business. Please have the second reading of Bill 3342 by title only.
The second reading of Bill 3342 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, approving the final plat for Edgewater at Creekmore, 6th plat, lots 165 through 218, and Tract H, located in Section 4, Township 46 North, Range 32 West, Raymore, Cass County, Missouri.
Thank you. Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3342?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Bill 3342, Edgewater at Creekmore, 6th final plat.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3342. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carries 5 yes, 3 absent. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3341 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3341 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing and approving a contract with Cook, Flatt & Strobel, CFS Engineers, PA, for consulting services including design, bidding, and construction management for the TB Hanna Station improvements in the amount of $53,100.
Thank you. Is there a motion to dispose of the second reading of Bill 3341?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Bill 3341, TB Hanna Station Improvements Contract.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3341. Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Berenson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very quickly, I had a couple questions on that were answered by the staff, actually, on page 81. I wonder if the staff wouldn't mind just giving us a very brief overrun of why the costs are what they are. I know there's been some recent some people recently going through our budget and asking questions about our budget, and this is a good opportunity, I think, for us to go through and just kind of explain why the numbers are what they are. Specifically on the post office storage facility that we're at a total of $12,800, and maybe also the restroom prefab. If you guys wouldn't mind just giving me a brief breakdown of the costs on there and what we're paying for.
Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you, sir. I would ask Mr. Musteen to make a report on this item.
Thank you, sir. First question would be the post office storage facility. Excuse me. If you'll look in the breakdown of that, there is the contractors actually broke that down into their design team and the different subcontractors that they have and work with. Strata Architecture is the bulk of that design and consulting fee. What they do, that is the conversion of that facility into the historic post office, or that whatever that historic facade that we're looking to do. That's where the bulk of that design fee is going to be. Is the restoration of the building and the conversion of the building is relatively simple in that term, but to get that to look like that historic building, that facade that we're looking for, that was where the bulk of the design fees would go towards. In terms of the restroom, yes, it is a prefabricated restroom. However, that is just kind of a building that you order. The engineering, the design, all of those things are what we're paying for there, which is the utility services, also the additional features that we select, the specific things that we add on. They have to design those and work with the manufacturer to get those things work. So for the most part, the restroom itself is the engineering and infrastructure for that facility, because once it's done, that facility is basically brought in and dropped right on, and then we bolt it down and plug and hook everything up. So that is where the bulk of those fees are applied to.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Musteen. I've seen that facility and it looks very nice. I'm looking forward to seeing these both come to fruition pretty soon. Thanks again for the breakdown.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? 5 yes, none opposed, 3 absent, motion carries. Moves on to new business now. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3339 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3339 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Central Power Systems and Services for the emergency generator maintenance, city project number 18-005, in the amount of $3,550.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Kraft to make a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. A number of our facilities and the emergency management department have emergency generators for standby power. This contract provides for routine maintenance, testing, and repairs of those facilities. That concludes staff report.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Hearing none, is there a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3339?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3339, award of contract for emergency generator maintenance.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3339. Any further discussion? Mr. Kellogg.
I'm sorry, I have a question, and I failing to find it here, but I read it through the agenda as I was reading through it. In the terms of the contract, scope of the contract, I wish I could find it. It speaks to a sample taken of the oil. It doesn't say what that's going to be used for or the purpose of that. It just says that scope of the work is that a sample of the oil from the compressor be taken, and that's all I got. If staff can expound on that for my purposes, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, it's tested and they look for metal filings and those type of things for wear in the compressor so that we can troubleshoot and kind of advance, make repairs before we have a breakdown or a failure.
Okay, and that's reasonable. I was just curious if that is explicit or if it's expressed, that's what the purpose of that is for. Because as I was reading through it, it just said take the sample. It didn't say what they would do with it, what staff would do with it, and that's my concern, is just to take a sample for what to go where is meaningless. But I appreciate the answer. Thank you.
Anyway, yes, Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we have 7 emergency generators that are going to be serviced under this contract. Is that correct? I see a list of A through G,
yes.
Different locations. Thank you.
Anyone else? Nothing further. All those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 5-0, 3 absent. Could please have the first reading of Bill 3340 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3340 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Todco Mechanical for the HVAC preventative maintenance, city project number 18-004, in the amount of $5,431.
Thank you. Is there a staff report, sir?
Thank you, sir. I would ask Mr. Kraft to make a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as with the emergency generator contract you just approved, this contract is for the routine maintenance, changing of filters, repairs of the heating and ventilating systems within various city buildings, including filter changes for the new Centerview building. That concludes staff report.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Is there a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3340?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Bill 3340, award of contract for HVAC preventative maintenance.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3340. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 5 yes, 3 absent. Could please have the first reading of Bill 3344 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3344 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Black & McDonald for the Municipal Circle Streetlight Installation Project in the amount of $53,523.74, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. Is there a staff report, sir?
Thank you, sir. I would ask Mr. Kraft to make a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Staff is requesting that council accept a proposal from Black & McDonald, our streetlight maintenance contractor, for the installation of, finishing the installation of decorative lighting around Municipal Circle. This project will install 9 light fixtures along the sidewalk that was recently installed. That concludes staff report.
Okay, so that, we budgeted $114,000 on that, so that is a sufficient amount, I assume, for any overages we might have, since it's almost double what we had budgeted, or less than double, or less than half of what we budgeted.
Yeah, there'll be plenty in the budget for this particular item.
I just was just curious if there was anything following on to this particular project.
Mr. Krass.
It's just this.
Actually, it was twofold, sir. The project involved both the installation of the sidewalk and the lighting. So
okay.
yes, but there is sufficient funds for any remaining.
I guess that's kind of what I was getting at. I couldn't do it very well. Okay, so any other questions of staff? Yes, Mr. Kellogg.
I had the same question too, because kind of the opposite way, because I saw the $114,000 and the bid at $53,000. What I was curious about, if something that we have done previously that has already taken place, the work has taken place, and this is remaining of that, is, so
That's kind of what Mike just said, right?
Yeah.
Is the same budget used for the sidewalk?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then we've already got that sidewalk in too, don't we?
Yes, sir.
And the grass is growing.
It's getting greener. All right, if there's no further questions, there is a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3344.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Bill 3344, award of contract municipal circle light, street light installation.
I'll second that motion, sir.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3344. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 5 yes, no nays, 3 absent. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3345 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3345 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with GB Construction LLC for the Johnston Drive extension, city project number 18-243-201, in the amount of $365,490.50, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. Is there a staff report, sir?
Thank you, sir. I'll call on Mr. Krass.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The extension of Johnson Drive between Darrowby and Dean Avenue is one of the roadway segments approved by the voters as part of the 2016 general obligation bond. We are pleased to bring forward a contract for that work that will be starting later this month, and hopefully, weather permitting, be completed late summer. That concludes staff report.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of staff? Hearing none, is there a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3345?
Mr. Mayor, I join staff's pleasure with moving to approve award of contract for Johnson Drive Extension Bill 3345.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3345. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 5 yes, 0 nays, 3 absent. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3346 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3346 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Gridiron Construction LLC for the stormwater culvert replacement, city project number 18-290-201, in the amount of $27,877.50, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Krass to make a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This particular project involves the replacement of a culvert that's deteriorated in the Silver Lake neighborhood. It runs along the backyards between Silver Lake Circle and Rainbow Circle. Excuse me, and so we do recommend award of the contract to Gridiron Construction. Gridiron Construction is currently under contract for the fiscal year 2017 stormwater project. They've been They did some work up on North Washington. They've done some other culvert replacements. They recently did some work out on 58 Highway, so we do recommend award of the contract to them. That concludes staff report.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions of staff? Mr. Burke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Krass, is this culvert, does this empty into Silver Lake?
Yes, just south of the clubhouse, I believe.
Okay, I think I was chasing my dog there today, honestly.
You didn't fall into any of the holes there?
No, no, but
Any other questions of staff? Is there a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3346?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Bill 3346, award of contract, stormwater culvert replacement.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3346. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries with 5 yes, 0 nays, 3 absent. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3343 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3343 by title only. Excuse me. An ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with R.L. Phillips Construction, Inc. for the Police Department Squad Room Remodel Project, City Project Number 18-292-201, in the amount of $26,250, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. Is there a staff report, sir?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Chief Zimmerman to make a staff report on this item.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn. As many of you may remember, back in 2012, the police department underwent a major renovation to improve the service to the public and functionality in areas such as dispatch, the records unit, the police officer locker rooms. Literally one of the only areas that was not addressed during that renovation in 2012 was the police squad room. For many of you who have actually come downstairs and toured that really terrible room, to see it is our 24-hour operation where we do a variety of things: roll call, evidence collection, we do major crime briefings there, report preparation, all sorts of things there. So we are very excited to present this contract for council approval to get that squad room renovated and improve the functionality in there as well.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Mr. Holman?
What would be the chance, Chief, during the remodel that we could get a life-size cutout of Sergeant Esterhaus to put in there?
We'll work on that.
Thank you.
We obviously have the money with
We can get that
the low
donated.
bid, so.
Mr. Burke?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure what page this was on, but I read today and I was surprised at the number of activities that take place in this room, and I thought, I hope it's a lot of people can share some space, because I was surprised at all the different activities that need to take place there.
Well, and you know, some of the built-ins that will be coming out with this renovation, we're going to do a lot more with furniture. So, you know, gun cleaning and maintenance and property, you know, preparation and packaging and those sorts of things. You know, we're looking to increase the functionality with some furniture improvements, so.
Thank you.
Great. Anything else? Hearing none. Is there a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3343?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Bill 3343, award of contract, Police Department Squad Room Remodel.
I'll second that motion, sir.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3343. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 5 yes, 0 nays, and 3 absent. That concludes our formal agenda. We'll now move on to public comments. If anyone here from the public would like to address the council this evening, please step forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and try to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Anyone? If there are none, we'll move on to the next item. We'll move on to the mayor-council communication. Mr. Kellogg, you want to start us off tonight?
Sure, I'll go. I guess I will take a moment to express my gratitude and thanks for the help that I got from our mayor and our police chief this last week. I've been dealing with a situation in my my private life, which come to me through being involved in the city, and it affected a person very personally. And this person had no idea where to turn or how to navigate through the situation that they were going through. And their devices was very different than what was reasonable or actually helpful for that person. And I'll say this, it was a domestic situation. And their first instinct was very drastic, and they turned to me for help. And I soon became aware that I was over my head, and I turned to our chief, and I turned to our mayor, former chief, for input and help. And it's been a very stressful week for that person for the last week. This was last Thursday that the person called me. And I am very pleased and very happy to say that the perpetrators in this situation were apprehended today. And the person that contacted me is able to breathe a sigh of relief tonight. I guess what I'm saying is that here's what this person didn't have to reach out to a city councilman, to a mayor, or to a government official. This person had all these resources to themselves, but they didn't know it. But thank God this person was comfortable enough and confident enough to contact somebody that they knew that had those answers. And again, I'm just glad that I was in a position that I knew people that had that information, because I really didn't. I had a lot of good information, but after talking with Mayor Turnbow as a former policeman, it's like, there was a few things that I missed, and it's very satisfying, and I feel like maybe my time serving is actually worthwhile. It's those little wins. There's a win in a new street going through a neighborhood. That's huge. Don't get me wrong, but being able to know that I've helped somebody in their personal life just by the opportunity, honor of being able to sit up here and learn the system is a huge thanks from me to not just mayor and not just chief, but to everybody that's trusted me enough to be up here. It's an honor. And that's all I got.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Kellogg. Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Wanted to had an opportunity today to talk with Officer Lance Goddard. He gave me a call while I was chasing my dog. I thought maybe he was calling to tell me that he had my dog, but then my dog was actually in my yard all along. That's all right. But anyway, there was a minor incident at school today where he works at the middle school, and I say minor because I've been a teacher for 26 years and I've worked in the inner city, and so I've had some experience that some of our local teachers haven't had. But I asked him first off, I said, well, what time do you get off? Because I wanted to meet with him and address the issue and that my daughter was involved with. And he said, well, I've been off for a while now, but and I know that he went ahead and worked for at least another hour to make sure that the parents of the students that were hearing some things that turned out to be something that was actually in another place and not in Raymore, but to make sure that they felt safe and secure in our schools. And I really appreciated that he went ahead and came to our house and we talked and shared information, and my daughter felt very comfortable in working with him. And he really does a great job, and I wanted to thank him personally. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Berenson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start off with thanking Mr. Mustine for his explanation on some of the costs associated with the architecture and planning at the improvements at TB Hanna Station. What I was trying to get across, and I wasn't very eloquent there, was just there have been quite a few people that have been kind of digging through our budget, but not digging deep enough, I think, to really see what it is we're spending our money on. So again, thank you for explaining that to us. I also want to thank Cynthia and Kevin for coming in tonight from the Cass County Health Foundation. I know they mentioned it was a walk today. I got an email from the mayor asking for a donation, and I made a very small donation, but I was assuming he'd be running in that, not walking. So, sure, I do expect.
Seriously, you thought that?
I thought you'd be running. I expect a top 3 finish, or I want my money back.
No refunds.
Refund, yes. And lastly, glad to hear that we passed all this, especially the improvements to the squad room downstairs. I had a chance to see that a few months ago, and they're doing the best they can with limited space and limited storage. It's kind of like the set of like Hill Street Blues or Columbo, if I may. So I'm glad to see that it's being updated, and I hope for a more modern look when it's done. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to start off and congratulate Mr. Fearborn and his staff for another impressive audit report, and looks like another potential award. I'll hold off on that. Congratulations to when you get it. And then I wanted to thank our Public Works Department on getting on the potholes. I know there's been a couple out there. And then my third part of this is a comment. You know, people always say it's hard to tell where Raymore begins and where Raymore ends. Well, you can tell that now by the lack of potholes that we do have. So again, I want to thank Public Works for taking care of that.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ullman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have anything this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. I have a few things that kind of echo what some of my colleagues have already said. I do want to thank Kevin and Cynthia for coming in tonight. The 5K walk and run is a way to raise money for that. One things that Kevin failed to mention is a little over 3,300 students. He did say that were seen for dental checkups, but over 10,000 visits came out of that. There were ongoing visits where some of these kids had to have a lot of treatment. One young girl had like 15 cavities, had never been to a dentist before, did 5 consecutive visits after that, and the teacher said her whole demeanor has changed. She's a happy young lady that really engages with the rest of the kids in class now. So that's just one example of the many success stories that come out of this program. And dental health is just so important to young people, and I think we sometimes think because they're young that they're flexible enough they can bounce back on their own, but when they don't have the resources to take care of that, this organization steps up and does that, and I thank them for that, and that's why I'm associated with them. And then again, also to Nathan, Gus is a pretty awesome young man. I know when he announced his Eagle Project and he invited me to his Eagle Court of Honor, I was very honored to be the speaker at that Court of Honor, and knowing him from being the young man that he was to the young man that he is today has got to be very gratifying for his parents, and he is a great addition to the team here in the city, and I'm glad to see that he's putting all those great ideas to good use. And all the other stuff that the Parks Department does, the father-daughter dance, the pergola you spoke of that Gus was involved with, the storage, the signs for the Arboretum, where there's just, I know you guys are awful busy. Besides trying to run an event center that is growing in its popularity, there's a lot of work to be done there, and you and the Parks Department should be congratulated for the work there. And then I wanted to say hi to Rachel tonight. Rachel Bratton is normally the administrative assistant to Mr. Fearborn and myself, and she has stepped in to learn the facets of the city clerk's office in the event that Jeannie and Erica are both away at a conference, so she can step up. So did you learn anything tonight? A lot? No. It went pretty quick tonight, actually. Some of them can drag out, but this one went pretty quick. But I know you'll do a great job. And that's all I have tonight. I think we need to move into executive session now. Is there a motion to do so?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we go into executive session for the purpose of real estate acquisition matters as authorized by State Statute 610.021, Parent 2.
Thank
I'll
you.
second the motion, sir.
Motion's been made and seconded to move into executive session for real estate acquisition matters. Could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdel-Gawad absent. Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kellogg?
Yes.
Councilmember Moorhead and Townsend absent.
Thank you. We will adjourn into executive session, and once that's over with, we'll come back out here to adjourn from